Okay, so today we're going to be working on the benchmark review for the second benchmark. We're going to go straight down. We're going to do several problems together, skipping around, okay? So for number 1, it's an expression because there's no equal sign. So you're not going to have a single number. Your job is to simplify this if you can, okay? So you have a set of parentheses. Anytime you have parentheses, that's the first thing you want to get rid of. So you take whatever's outside the house and you share it. So 5 times x
5x squared
is 5x squared. 5 times 2x, positive 10x. Don't forget your positives and negatives. 5 times negative 3, negative 15. Good. The next thing you want to do is look at each and every single individual term. You have a 5x squared, a 10x, and a negative 15. Can we combine any of those?
Yes.
No. Why not? Because this is squared, this is not squared, and this does not have an x. None of those are like terms. So that's our final answer right there. Now this one says find the perimeter of a regular octagon with a side of x minus 2. Well, what is it asking us to find? And how do you find perimeter of anything? You add up all the sides. Well, if it says a regular octagon has 8 sides, but regular means that it's going to be the same. The length is the same throughout. So we have 8 sides, and it's x minus 2. We could do x minus 2 plus x minus 2 plus x minus 2 all the way down, or 8 times, because there's 8 sides, x minus 2. And when we do that, you're going to have to get rid of the parentheses. 8 times x, 8x. 8 times negative 2, negative 16. We cannot combine those because the 16 does not have an x. So we're done. A hexagon has how many sides? 6. And a pentagon has 5. Good. So we're going to go ahead and go down to number 8. Actually, we're going to do 9 together. I'll let you do 8 on your own. So now we have an equal sign, and the directions were to solve the equation. So you're looking to get x by itself. You have a set of parentheses. That's the very first thing you need to get rid of. So you're going to take whatever's outside that house, which is the 11, and share it or distribute to the x and to the 2. So I'll get 11x, good. And 11 times 2, positive 22. Do I need to share this 11 with the 5? No, good. So that plus 5 comes down, and that's equal to 60. Now from here, after you distribute, you need to see if you can combine any like terms. I can combine the 22 and the 5, good. So what happens when I combine that? You get 27, good. Perfect. 11x plus 27 is equal to 60. Now from there, I need to get the x by itself. I'm gonna subtract 27 on both sides, and when I do that, I'm gonna write up here. I'll get 11x is equal to 33. The 11 and the x are side by side, so they are multiplying. So I need to divide each side by 11, and you get x is equal to 3. And the way you would check your answer to make sure you're right is now that you know what x is equal to, you could take it and plug it in to that x right there. And as long as this side is equal to 60, you know you're right. Okay? Let's look at number 10. It says write your own equation similar to these illustrating the distributive property. So what do we notice about those two equations? They both have a variable, right? Well, if I distribute this 5 to the 2x, what do I get? And if I distribute that 5 to the 1? So what do you notice now about those two? They're the same, right? They're equivalent. So let's come up with our own. Well, we'll have a positive and we'll have the x variable. So now we need to come up with 3 numbers. What numbers would you like to use? 7. You want to use 0? No, let's use 2 and 5. That's good. So now, to get this side, I need to distribute that 7. So 7 times 2, 14x plus 35. Good. And you'll do the same for number 11. It doesn't matter. They just wanted us to come up with our own example. So let's look at the next section. Transform equations. Let's look at 14. It says to solve for k, and here's k. But what's going on with that k? It's being multiplied by the x. So I need to get rid of that x. So I'm going to divide by x on both sides. Good. So if I do that, those x's go away, and I will get k is equal to y over x. You could have flip-flopped it, meaning y over x is equal to k. Either way, either one is fine. So far, so good? Okay, so what part? So we're looking for the k, correct? That's what the directions are telling us to do. Well, there's a k, and right next to it there was an x. We know that anytime you have something side by side without a plus or minus or division sign, that it's automatically multiplying, okay? So I need to get rid of that x that's multiplying next to that k. So opposite of multiplication, division. So I'm going to divide each side. Well, I want k to stay there by itself, so I'm going to divide by the x. If I do that, then these two x's go away. But the rule in algebra is what you do to one side, you do to the other. So you have y over x. Okay? Alright, so this next one, 15, says that the sports boosters are selling tickets to the football game. They use M equals T, capital P, where M is the amount of money they earn, T is the price of the ticket, and P is the number of people who bought the tickets. They want us to solve the equation for the ticket price, which is the letter T. Well, if I look at this equation right here that they give us, what is going on with it? The P is multiplying to the T. So what do I need to do? I need to divide by the letter P on both sides. By doing that, I can eliminate those P's. Meaning I have T by itself, and on the other side you have M divided by P, which is our final answer. Are you ready to move on? Okay, so this next part is the box method or FOIL. I'm actually going to do this problem on a separate piece of paper because I'm going to show you both methods. So let's do FOIL first. And I'm just going to rewrite that problem on my paper. Okay, so FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, last. So you take the first two terms and you multiply them. X times x gives us x squared. The O stands for the outside. So the two terms on the outside. So x times the negative 5. Good. Negative 5x. The I is going to stand for inner, your inside terms. So 2 times x. Positive or negative? Good. And then the last one stands for, well, last. The two that are the last in each one. So 2 times negative 5, negative 10. So after you distribute, combine your like terms. They're usually going to be in the middle. So the x squared is going to come down, and so is that negative 10. You know, you're going to have an x here. If I have negative 5x, and I'm going to add 2x to that, negative 3x. We can't combine any of those, so we're done. So that's FOIL. Now, if we wanted to do the same problem using box method, what you need to do, I'm going to zoom out a little. It's a 2 by 2, meaning there's 2 terms in each one. So here's my box. The x plus 2 goes down, and the x minus 5 goes across. Now this is just like your multiplication charts from when you were in elementary school. If you were trying to find out what 2 times 5 was, you'd find a 2, you'd find a 5, and that would give you your answer, right? Now you have to fill in that multiplication chart. So x times x, x squared. X times negative 5, 2 times x, 2 times negative 5. Good. Combine your like terms. You get x squared minus 3x minus 10. 2 ways to do the same problem. Okay? Yes, ma'am. We're gonna do that one right now. Yes, ma'am. From the box, start with your one with the highest degree, your exponent, and then you're gonna see what else you can combine from there. I can't combine this x squared with those two because those aren't squared. Okay? Alright, so number 17 is s plus u and w minus u. We'll do the box method first. So doing the box method, I'm going to bring down that s plus u, and they're both positive, and then the w is positive, but the u is negative for that one. So now let's fill in our box. There's no numbers in this time. So s times w, how would we write that? SW, good. S times negative u, negative SU, UW, and negative u squared. No, you're good. Now from there, is there anything that we can combine? No, because that has an SW, but there's no other SW. That has an SU, but there's no other SU. And the same for those. So you want to write the one with the highest degree first, which is what? Good. So negative u squared, we're done with that one. And then from there, it's just a matter of writing them in whatever order you want, since there's no numbers. So I'm just going to start with the top left and then work my way zigzag. So that's a positive SW, a negative SU, and a positive UW. Okay? Just make sure you have to be careful with your negatives and your positives. If it's positive, it has to stay positive. Alright, ready? We're going to look at these problems now, the polynomial expression. So, it says, find the area of a triangle. We're doing number 22. With the base of that and the height of that. Well, we know the area of a triangle is what? Area equals 1/2 base times height. Do they give us the base and the height? Yes, they do. So, area is now equal to 1/2. Our base is 2x plus 8. And our height is x plus 2. Alright, from here, what you want to do is, since we have parentheses, you want to get rid of those first. We're going to distribute. I'm going to use the FOIL method this time. So, area is equal to 1/2. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 2 is 4x. 8 times x, 8x. And 8 times 2 plus 16. Good. Now we're done with that, but what do we have left outside? The 1/2. So I'm going to take these coefficients and I'm going to divide each of those by 2. So half of 2 is 1, so that's an x squared. Half of 4 is 2. Plus 4x plus 8. So, is there anything I can combine? The 2x and the 4x. So that gives me x squared, what? Plus 6x plus 8. You could have combined up here first and then went through and divided by 2. Either way would be fine. Okay? Let's flip this over. We'll do one of these examples up here together. Which one would you like to do? 4? Okay. So 4, the variable we're solving for is a. It's on top of a fraction with some other stuff though. So I need to get rid of that 2. How do I do that? Multiply it by 2. Good. Each side. You don't have those. The 4. Just write it on your paper for right now. 6 plus 4a is equal to -6. Now I have this 6 over here that I need to get rid of. Subtract 6 on both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get -12. I need to get rid of that 4, but the 4 is next to the a, so it's multiplying, so I'm going to divide by 4 on both sides and get a is equal to 3. And the same as the other problems, it is -3, yes. And the way to check it would be to plug in that -3 into that equation. Okay? Alright, we're going to go ahead and do all of 7, 8, 9, and 10, where you have to find the slope from the graph. So let me zoom out so you can see it. So I'm going to do 7 in purple, just so that we can differentiate which ones we're doing. So here's graph or line A. In order to find slope, the first thing you need to do is pick 2 points. And you want to pick points that aren't in between, like how this one, it's not right on the crosshair. You want to deal with whole numbers. So if we look throughout this line, we'll see a point here and right here. Now we know slope is rise over run. In this case, we're going to fall how many boxes? And run? Good. So is it change in y over change in x, or the other way around? It's change in y over change in x. So it's 1 over 3. But since we fell, is it positive or negative? Good. So negative 1 over 3. Our next one, line B, is right here. What do we know about vertical lines? It's undefined. There's no slope. So if we were to look at Mr. Slope Guy, it's his nose. It's undefined. Or we could write no slope. Line C, you want to pick 2 points again and try to find 2 really good points and do rise over run. You rose 2 boxes and over 1, so our slope is 2. Is it positive or negative? Positive, because it's going up. And the last one is going to be a horizontal line, which is 0. 0 slope. Okay, ready? So number 11. For this one, they want us to write an equation in y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope, b is our y-intercept. So let's find the slope first. So if I'm starting with this middle graph, they gave us 2 points. I rose 1, ran 2. So our slope is 1 over 2. And our y-intercept, if this is the origin right here, I went down how many? Is it 4 or is it in between 3 and 4? In between 3 and 4, and it looks like it's right in the middle, so I'm going to put 3.5 for our y-intercept. Let's look at the graph next to it. Now this one, it doesn't have any points labeled for you. So let's find 2 good points. And see what our slope is. If we were to count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over 3. Our y-intercept is above the origin, so it's plus what number? Good. And we're done with that one. Alright. And we're just going to go ahead and stop right there. That's already long. Okay, so one of the direct variation problems real quick. And we're going to do it the middle school way, the one with proportions, alright? So find that one. We're going to do the one about fast food, number 19, which you can't even see on here. And we've done both of these problems before, so they should look familiar. I don't even think we changed the numbers in them.
Is that the one on K?
And so where K equals YX. So a local fast food restaurant takes in $9,000 in a 4-hour period. So write a direct variation equation for the relationship between income and the number of hours. Well, time is always what? X. It's always independent. So we know we're going to have hours at the bottom and money up top. With that being said, we could fill in our equation using the 9,000 and the 4 now. You're going to have 9,000, that's money, over that 4-hour period of time. So that is what our K is equal to. Now, it wants us to estimate how many hours it would take the restaurant to earn $20,250. We don't know what hours is, so I'm just going to put X. From here, you're just going to cross multiply. And you will get 81,000 equals 9x. Oh, not 9. 9,000 x. Divide everything by 9,000 to get that x by itself. And the fast, easy way to do that, since there's all those zeros are going to cancel out. 9 goes into 81. 9 times. So it's going to be 9 hours for them to make that much money. Okay? Go through your review really fast. Are there any other problems you want done? This one? That one? What was your slope? Yeah. You're good. So you should have just a half page left, correct? Or no, you have more. And then a little bit. For 19, for this one, all you need to remember is that perimeter and circumference are always linear. They want to know if it appears linear. Perimeter is linear. Area is a quadratic. You don't have this one? Oh. Pull that up. So, well, you do need to know that though for tomorrow. You have this one? Well, this one's real easy. Which cyclist was the slowest? A, B, C, or D? A. Which one was the fastest? D. Now, when it says to estimate the speed, they want you to find the slope. So, rise over run. So, if he rose 1 box and ran 2, each box here is worth 10, because it's riding every other one. So 10 over 2 is 5 over 1, so 5. And D is that point right there in the origin. So she rose 50, or he rose 50 and ran 1. So the slope is 50. So now do you just have half the page? it's $1.80. And for 20 minutes, it's $2.40. So write an equation that relates x, the number of minutes the call lasts, to c, the cost of the call. Well, you need to find your slope. What is x increasing by? And what is the c increasing by? 60. It's an increase of 60 cents. So that's going to be our slope. So y equals, or c equals, 0.60 over 5x. Now to find the y-intercept, what has to be 0? The x. So I can go backwards. If I'm adding 5 every time, I can go back by 5. And if I'm adding 60 cents every time, I can subtract 60 cents. So that'd be 60 and that'd be 0. So what's my y-intercept? Okay, this was given to me, right? I want to know what is our c when x equals 0. So I subtracted 5, and I got 5 right here from the 10. I have $1.20, I subtracted 60 cents. I have 60 cents. But I want when x is equal to 0. So I subtracted 5 again. I got, it's 0. So do I need to put plus 0 there? Just leave it. What does the slope of the equation represent? What does that mean? So it's 60 cents per 5 minutes. What is the value of the c-intercept? Or the y-intercept? What does it mean? Well, we said our y-intercept was 0. That's the base fee, right? There is no base fee. Like the starting point, how much money they have to pay, even if they don't talk at all. Use your equation to predict the charge for a 40-minute call. So am I going to put the 40 in for x or for y? X. 0.60 over 5 times 40. Want to know a shortcut? You have 20 minutes. Isn't that half of 40? So if I double this to 40, what would that give me? So it's 480. Okay? So this is going to be due tomorrow. Does anyone have any half papers or any papers to turn